Hello everyone, and welcome to Jumperman Tech, where we specialize in HVAC but do everything DIY. And today I'm going to show you step by step on how I install this wall mural. Thank you to everyone tuning into Jumperman Tech. Here is our wall mural. It comes compacted in a roll. The idea here would be to install this along this entire wall. What I would do to begin is to prep the wall. So if you have any receptacles or anything on the wall, you're gonna wanna take the covers off. And what I like to do is take a damp rag and just give a quick wash on the wall to make sure there's no dust or debris. You're gonna wanna wipe down the wall with a damp rag to make sure you have no dust or debris. So when we put on our wallpaper, we have a nice connection. All right, so I wiped down the walls, everything's nice and clean, and I took off the cover for this receptacle. I'm gonna start to unravel our package and lay out the panels and get them in order. Here is some molding that I'll be installing around the frame, so any imperfections will be covered. And here's the previous project of a wall mural that I installed, and this is possible to do by yourself. You will come across imperfections, so what I did was I installed this molding to go around, and it honestly came out perfect. So each of these are labeled, so we have 6 panels. This is one of 6. I'm just gonna lay across the 6 panels to make sure our design is in order. All right. This is such an interesting wallpaper. This is the 6 panels put together, and everything looks good to me. I got my little ladder set up, and the key to doing this job is painter's tape. So we're gonna take our panel and line it up against the wall, see where we're gonna want this. And the idea would be to put a piece of tape going across this way so it actually holds this up. Then you can bend this back a little bit, peel off the edge, stick it on, and then from the back we're gonna pull down the lining and smooth out our surface. I'll show you how that's done. You're gonna wanna use painter's tape so you don't leave any markings on the wallpaper. There's no such thing as a perfect world, so there's no such thing as perfectly straight walls. So you're gonna have to get this as best as possible. So, a little something like that. Let me start right here so I could even get anything done. This corner is going to be a little hard to do because you can't just lay it right across the wall. So let's do what we can. I'm going to get this as tight to the wall as possible. So you're going to have a little something like that. Line this up perfectly, and then we can peel back the lining, stick this part on, remove the tape, pull the lining back, and smooth out the surface. All right, so I like the idea of this. As you can see, we have a little gap. Just make sure the gap is smaller than the molding of your choice. So when we finish, we're gonna have perfection. All right, so that looks good to me. We're gonna peel back our lining. You know, fold this a little back so it's like not in your way. All right. Make sure you're where you want to be. Stick that on. Double check everything is good. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. So now the top will be holding. Get rid of this. This tape is great. It's because it doesn't leave any stains. Could also put tape on the bottom to mark it up so the bottom is also straight. And just peel this back piece. Little by little you go down. smooth it out. Peel it back, smooth it out. And you just repeat that process till you make it to the bottom. Little by little, so everything is smooth. You get a little crease, try to peel it back up and smooth it out and get it done right, because what I've noticed in the last job is when you get that little crease, that means you're not straight and you're gonna have some more imperfections on the way down. So just be patient and just do it little by little, evenly. Oh, that's a beautiful thing right there. Smooth as butter. The bottom, and this might be in your way. Just rip that up so it doesn't bother you, and continue. All right, so once we get to the edge, we're gonna take a box cutter and just cut alongside either the molding or your floor. All right, so right there, got a nice fit. Beautiful. All right, that looks absolutely fantastic. From here, we're just gonna continue the process. All right, so here's the second panel, and this part is very important. If I put it right at the edge, you're gonna notice this pattern is not exactly perfect. What you wanna do is actually overlap it. So you wanna pay close attention to the image. So now, this matches with this, and this line matches with here. You know, pay attention to your pattern and make sure it matches up. We're gonna put a piece of tape across, then we're gonna go to the bottom and make sure that side is lined up, and we're just gonna hold it in place with the painter's tape. Holding the side over my elbow. Just gonna give it as much pressure as I can so it really holds. I know I got that lined up. All right, yeah, that looks good. I'm gonna start it here. I just wanted to get it lined up. So I'm gonna take this one off at the end once I have everything lined up, so you know I can fold this back and do that little trick that we had there. Awesome. So once we have that lined up, as you can see, this one's gonna cover the receptacle, and I'll show you how I go about all that. Just make sure we have a nice design, and yeah. See, right here, you want it to line up perfectly. Let's see. Make sure this is gonna be flat. This is gonna go off to the side a little bit. Right there. Right there, you see that? I'm gonna hold my arm against there. I'm gonna just put a piece like this so that stays in place. And that looks good to me. Flatten it out. I'm just wearing gloves, so I don't have any oil residue off my hands. Make sure everything's nice and clean when you're putting your hands through it. So from here, I'm just gonna repeat the process, and I'll show you how I go about the receptacle. Pull off this tape. So we're still gonna be held up with this one. Gonna pull this back a little and peel back the lining. Okay. I gotta say, this wallpaper is extremely forgiving. If you mess up, you know, you could peel it back and get it going again. So I'm just gonna fold this a little just so I can get it started. Make sure everything is straight. Get that on there, right? Then, once we have this part holding, you can take this off. All right. Just follow the steps. All right, so we're getting close to the receptacle, and what I'm gonna do is actually just stick it on so everything we know is flat. And then we're gonna feel around and we're actually gonna just cut into it. All right, so you see, get into that receptacle. Let's cut. All right, so we're right here. Leave this like this. And listen, make sure your power's off just in case. There should be taped around the receptacle, but you don't want to short anything out. So you can see this is the receptacle right here. So we're just gonna cut with the box cutter just around this. You see this? You can feel it. So we're just gonna cut around it so then you can put the cover on. To be safe, I will cut around the breaker. This is how I actually covered it. I think it's perfect. So, all right. I gotta say, this is a very good quality paper. It's pretty strong. All right. All right. Okay. Awesome. So there's that. And now we can continue to stick this on so everything is straight. I'm just gonna press it against the wall. Got a little bit of a crease. See, it's forgiving. What's great about this paper is that in the future, if you ever want to take this off, it doesn't leave any stains, which is phenomenal. So smooth all that out. And then once again, cut on the edge. Awesome. Smooth it out. That's a beautiful thing right there. All right, I must say that came out absolutely perfect. And from here, we're just gonna repeat the same steps. We are officially down to one panel, and this is absolutely amazing. Wow, this completely transformed the room. I am so proud of myself. This is such a fun project. I definitely recommend this to anyone. So the last panel is gonna be a bit tricky because the width of this is shorter than the width of this. So let me show you how I take care of that. I have this little bit bent so you can have that curve. We're gonna follow the same step and we're gonna try to line this up nicely. A little bit up right there. And we're gonna put our tape to hold this up. I'm gonna put as much as I can on this side to hold it up. And we're gonna have to do a little something with the tape here, and then we're gonna tuck this in. So let's start with this tape. Make sure that's lined up. Okay. Follow that same step. Tuck that in. Okay. As best as we can. Oh man. All right, we're gonna tuck that in as fast as we can. Let's get that over there. And we're gonna do this again here. So let's just tape this up. And pretty much the idea is to score this with a blade. So let me show you how I take care of this. It's a little tricky because this goes here and then we have to make the little angle for this door frame. So let's go ahead and just pretty much tape this as much as we can. Okay. All right, that's flat. You know what? I'm gonna score this right now and then. I really recommend you use a good blade, but the real trick will be to, you know, cover each corner with the molding. So make sure you're flat when you're doing this. It's extremely important. All right? Straighten that out. All right, so more or less got this done. All right, we don't need that. See, that looks good. So let's hold it up and continue to score. So then we use this edge. Okay, so let's tape up this end. All right, to be safe, I want to make sure this sign is lined up perfectly. So I'm actually just gonna put the whole tape across because I don't want any issues down the line. I want this side to stay where it's gonna be. So that lines up perfectly well. All right, so from there, we're just gonna follow that same concept. We're gonna flatten it out and score it. Flatten it out, score it. Flatten it out, score it. All right, so this is all staying in place. Everything looks good. From here, gotta score it again. Make sure it's flat. Score it. I want this part out already. Okay. Right, flatten it. Score it. Flatten it down. Score it. Double check, make sure you're good. Yeah, that's looking good. Flatten it up. Don't cut your fingers. All right. And that's looking good. And basically just follow that process and cut it down. Just use the door frame or whatever's in the way as your guide to score. And honestly, I'm happy how this came out. Look at that. That's almost perfect. Nice. So I'm just gonna follow that same trick. Pull it down, peel it, and stick it on. Honestly, this looks easier than it really is. Once you get the hang of it, Move along a bit fast, but make sure you put everything down, flatten it out. It's all about getting it started right. Whoa. Get that in. All right. All right. It came out so good. Super clean. Just wow, wow, and wow. Here's some of the art that I have created. And this is my HVAC training board where I create videos on and I teach. And this is my office. It's currently in the works, but this is absolutely amazing. Honestly, this came out so neat that molding isn't even exactly required, but I am a perfectionist and I will be adding the moldings to hide any bit of imperfection. But wow, this is such a cool design. It completely transforms the room and this went by pretty smooth, I must say. Let's go ahead and cut the moldings to size for the wall. I'm gonna start with the edges and I'm gonna cut at a 45-degree angle so we create a nice frame, and I'll show you how that's gonna come out. All right, the first 45 is done. Then we're gonna cut a 45 the other way. So two 45s create a 90-degree angle, and that looks professional. So I have an air compressor hooked up. This is a brad nail gun, and we're just gonna attach it to the wall. And then we're gonna do the same for here. Remember, cover the corners. All right, that looks beautiful. And basically we're gonna nail it down, and that hides every single imperfection that may be there. And yeah, that's pretty much the idea. Just nail it down. And as you can see, the wall is not perfect. So over here, it's all the way flush. And here we don't have a flush fit. So around the edges of this that go along the wall, we're gonna use caulk, and that's gonna fill in every gap, and it's really, really gonna look professional. All right, everyone. The framing with the molding around looks absolutely fantastic. I think that made a big difference. It looks super clean, and there are no imperfections. If you want to take it to the next level, I would use white silicone, white caulk, and use it around the edges between the molding and the wall, so you can kind of fill in these small little gaps. It's not exactly a gap, but you won't notice it as much. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The masterpiece is now complete. If anyone found this video interesting or helpful, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time.